Good day, ladies and gentlemen. As ironic as it may seem, my name is Muhammed Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like quality. I am the founder and managing director of Worldwide Industrial and Systems Engineers, which was established in the year 2009. 15 years running, and here I am once again speaking about ISO standards, and today I'll be speaking more around quality management system and its respective principles. Let's go ahead and talk about principle number one. Customer focus. What does customer focus really mean from a definitive perspective? It is organizations are required to not only meet the customer's needs, but also exceed their expectations. So that's definitively explained, but what does it really mean? So for example, if I have to give a practical example, you can rock up into a Spur restaurant and ask for a Spur burger. They give you 2 buns and a patty, and that's customer driven. What you wanted is what you received. Customer focus is you order a Spur burger, but besides getting 2 buns and a patty, you also get chips and salad as well as a Coke on the side for free. That is exceeding your expectations. It doesn't always need to be monetary. You can be able to give a letter to the post office, delivering from Johannesburg to Cape Town. They set a time frame of 3 days, but then the letter is arrived in Cape Town within 2 days. That is also exceeding customer expectations. Now, customer focus is not a principle just for your final customer. It is also to be able to embed those principles within the organization itself. So for example, human resources might be recruiting for production. When human resources get the job spec and then be able to recruit the necessary individual, they need to ensure that they get the best candidate possible within respective timeframes with the necessary competency to execute the relevant activities. And that also in turn means customer focus. Having customer focus internally will also help organizations to fulfill customer focus externally. The second principle of quality is leadership. Leadership from a definitive perspective point of view is for a leader in an organization to be able to be transparent, but also have a level of communication to guide and motivate the relevant individuals in an organization. I like to use the disciplines of the 3D. So a leader needs to be disciplined, needs to be determined, needs to be dedicated. Those are attributes a leader needs to possess. Furthermore, they need to have a very unique skill set, and that skill set is communication. If they're able to communicate that very well, they will then be able to not only create motivation amongst the staff, but give them clear direction and clear, concise, attributed relevance where they need to focus on as an individual. Leaders, ladies and gentlemen, in the old days, you'd have an emperor that would direct people and guide them in terms of what they need to fulfill. But a general would be the person that would stand in front of the battle line and ask people to follow him into battle, and they would know they would be in safe hands. That is what leadership is. It's standing in the forefront of the organization and setting the example. Principle number 3, engagement of people. This is to work together as a team. If, for example, you look at the Rugby World Cup, we look at the Springboks, when it came to the semi-finals, you'd have a red card or a yellow card that was given to Siya Kolisi, or that was given to any other player. Now, it didn't mean that those people would now pack up their bags and go home. They needed to work harder as a team. You would see that responsibilities were given to the fullbacks or to the forwards. They knew their role, they knew their responsibility, but they knew that in a certain time, if someone was out of position, they needed to come back and fulfill that position because they had a unified environment where they were working together. Nobody made the statement, "It's not my job description." And that is why it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, in an organization that wants to fulfill quality, we don't have a culture where we say, "It's not in my job description." We're there to help one another to achieve the goals and objectives of the company, to work together, share information, share responsibilities, and execute accordingly when certain players or certain candidates or employees are falling short. By us working together, sharing information with one another, we're able to respectively achieve fundamentally the goals and objectives as well as the vision of the organization. Principle number 4 is a process approach. A process approach is to break things down into a systematic point of view where people can understand the holistic picture. So you have in a system, that system might be an entire organization's functions, but those functions need to be broken down. So human resources is a department. You functionally break them down to say there's recruitment, there's induction, there is onboarding, there is leave, there's industrial relations, there's offboarding. These are processes. Each process will have an input, which will have activities and an output. Those activities that need to be kept consistent will be determined by either having a procedure, which is the methodology, or a work instruction, which is more detailed depending on risk or depending on competency. That allows individuals to break things into smaller perspectives so they understand their role, responsibilities, and their relevant activities. Principle number 5 is improvement. I can comment by saying, confidently, 25 to 30 years ago, a lot of people were using a Nokia 3310 or a 6210 or a 7110, or even for that matter, we were using Kodak to be able to take pictures and wash them over the Kodak counter, which would take a week. Or even some of you would be able to recall what the yellow pages were. Now, my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, is who is using a Nokia 3310 today? Who's using the yellow pages today? Who's using Kodak to wash their pictures today? That is fundamentally how technology has evolved quite rapidly in the short space of time. And we as an organization need to improve the quality of our product, improve our processes to become more efficacy or efficient and effective so that we can stay relevant in today's environment. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be going back into the Stone Age. It's important that we fundamentally improve ourselves with education, with organizational retention of knowledge, but more so with our processes and our products so we can stay relevant and our customers feel that we are valuable in today's time. The 6th principle, ladies and gentlemen, is evidence-based decision making. Evidence-based decision making is where we look at facts. Don't ever assume. As you've previously heard or seen, assume can stand for ASS, you make an ass out of you and me. The way of dealing with inequality is to be transparent. Collect the data, make sure the data is clean, and make sure that data can give you transparent key information. So the data you formulate into a form of statistics so you understand where your customer complaints are, where your internal defects are, where your reworks are, where your rejects are, where you're consuming a lot of amount of time in executing an activity. That type of data and information allows you to make respective strategic decisions. So when you are transparent and we know exactly where you stand, it allows you to make strategic, informative decisions, or else you'll have garbage in, garbage out. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, it's relationship management. You need to have a strong relationship with your suppliers, not just externally, but internally. You need to understand their strengths, their weaknesses, and work together as a team to be able to ensure that you're able to optimally deliver a consistent product or a service that meets your customers' requirements. If you know exactly where your supplier's weaknesses are, whether an internal department or a supplier, you're able to work together to manage it. I can get a Coke can and I can open up a Coke can, and today you'll see the lid doesn't open or it breaks. I will blame Coke. I will not blame its suppliers. So it's important that Coca-Cola works with all its entire supply chain distribution, particular elements, so that they understand the importance of quality and they understand the importance of being able to go back to principle number 1, which is customer focus. These 7 principles, ladies and gentlemen, are important for an organization to embed, for a department to embed, and for individuals to have. A lot of certification bodies, when they're doing their third-party audits, their audit reports when it comes to 9001 are fundamentally aligning these 7 principles and being able to see if these are documented or practiced and be implemented within the culture of the organization. This is just the beginning, and I hope and wish you all well in terms of embedding these 7 principles into your day-to-day operations. They say in Christianity, there's the Bible. Metaphorically, ISO 9001 is the Bible to quality. There's the 10 commandments, you'll have the 7 principles, and every single book of faith would have something similar. Let us all try and attribute to not implementing quality in our organization, but also implementing quality in our normal livelihoods to better ourselves. And hopefully we'll have a better country, we'll have a better economy, and most importantly, we'll have a better world. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We aspire to all fulfilling the international standards. Thank you.